Hi everyone, it's me, Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. So as you've seen in the thumbnail, we are going to be making this cowl today. Now I'm going to go over some basic instructions prior to and kind of give you what you need to work this up and explain some of the elements of it that can be altered and changed, such as this long droop here in the front. It all depends on how quickly you start your increase section. All right, so it starts off with a 1-row repeat, and then we go up into the increase section, which becomes a 4-row repeat. And with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some things that you need. So my suggestion is to have a minimum of 2 stitch markers. You'll need a darning needle to sew in your ends, your standard. You'll need a pair of scissors. We definitely need yarn and a crochet hook to match your yarn and your tension style. You'll also need 3 buttons if you choose to do a button closure. You can do a sew it together closure if you so choose. That's perfectly okay as well. So I like the button closure just for a little bit more of a snugger fit ability around your neck for this particular pattern. So this pattern starts down here with a simple stitch pattern repeat of 1 row. And you're going to work that up to a certain point. And I'll explain that point in just a moment. Then you start doing an increase 4-row repeat. And as you increase, you get this triangle off to the side. This section here stays the same, a nice tighter stitch. This out here is a more lacier stitch. It's got eyelets. And it's meant to be a design element, not for warmth. Just a little bit of extra, added to it. And then we finish it off with this row of this same stitch. We finish this whole last section with a repeat. And what that'll do is give us those buttonholes that we need for our closure. And again, if you choose not to use buttons as a closure, you don't have to do this last row or last couple of rows. You can leave it as is, but it does kind of give it a finished look. And when you put it together, you sew it together like that, it will kind of give a little bit of a different type of element right here. All right, so as far as this section here, this 1-row repeat that you do, depending on how far you go with it. And I'm going to bring over some other they're not swatch, they're samples that I'm going to be working with. I'm going to show you a couple different ideas. All right, so we're going to look at this one here, and I'm going to back it up because I use the same weight yarn, which is a 3-weight yarn. Actually, let me double check that. No, this is a worsted weight, but I did use the same size hook for this as I did the 3-weight yarn. Now, if you've ever used Chloe, you know it's very close to a 3-weight. It is the fuzz on it that creates that halo on it that creates the quote 4-weight with the weight of with the width of the halo on the strand. But as you can see here, they're very similar in size. So I use the same size hook, and we're going to go up here. So I chose to wait. Here's my increases on the original. I chose to wait on my increases for a little while. I just kind of wrapped it around my neck and decided that, I'm going to start my increases about here, depending on what I was looking for. So this end was at the collarbone on one side. I wrap it around the back of my neck, And this, where I start the increases, rests just over my shoulder on the opposite side. Now, for the previous one, it's basically starting the increases from my spine. So from the collarbone around to my spine, going around the back of my neck. Now, as you can see here, this increase section is a whole lot smaller, and it's gonna be smaller. It's only going to be about, in the finish, approximately as wide as the section that goes around your neck. So it won't be very big like this one is. So it all depends on how soon you start your increase section of this pattern. Now, I want to show you another sample that you're going to be seeing today. This is a different amount of stitches. Same yarn as I just showed you, the Chloe. This is a different width. So the first one is a total of 17 chains, and this one is 23 chains. So this is the difference in the width. You can kind of see it a little bit like that. And what that'll do is just kind of give you a little bit more bunching around your neck. You know, not necessarily on your back, the back of your neck, but around the sides of your neck and under your chin. How did I gauge how many chains I wanted, how wide I wanted it to be? I basically went from the bottom of my chin at my comfortable resting position, from the bottom of my chin to the top of my collarbones. So that way, you know, it kind of gave me an idea as to how wide I wanted it. Then after I finished the green one, I decided, you know what, I really want a wider one to just to have a little bit wider of a cowl. So we're going to be working through both of these with Chloe, and a 5mm hook will be used for one, and the other one I'm using a 4mm hook, and that's the difference. So this wider one, I'm using a 4mm hook. The narrower one I wanted to do in a 5mm hook, just because I wanted to show you the, you know, the same width, the same everything here. All right. So again, it kind of depends on you. It depends on how much you want to do here. And I will measure both of these in length as to where I started. So the first one, the narrower one, at 22.5 inches, I started my increasing rounds. At the narrow green one, I started at 17.5. So that's, again, significantly different as to when I started my increases. And going around your neck, you're just going to what's comfortable. Now, if you are going to sew it closed, you're going to obviously want to be able to slide this over the top of your head and it still be a comfortable fit. If you are using a button closure, you can use your own judgment on that. I prefer to have it a little bit more snug. That way when I have a jacket on, it can fit comfortably under the jacket and not be, you know how sometimes they get bunched up and there's a lot of fabric underneath. I wanted it to be just more like closer to a turtleneck than a big bulky piece of crocheted fabric. All right, hopefully I have explained enough. We're going to get started with our chain, our original chain. And all I'm going to do here for that is pull over one of my balls of Chloe. Let me explain Chloe just a little bit of information. Chloe is a yarn from Hobby Lobby. If you don't have a Hobby Lobby or you don't shop Hobby Lobby, that's perfectly okay. You use whatever yarn and hook that you are happy with. So this is Chloe. 270 yards. And again, I say it is a worsted weight, but that's only because of the fact that it has a halo. 100 grams, it is 70% wool and 30% viscose. Now, the green one, I have no label on the green one here. Not 100% sure what its makeup is of it, but I will give you what I used of this. Originally, there was 230 yards. There was 94 yards left over when I finished. And that means I used 136 yards with a number 5 millimeter crochet hook. And I will give you the overall length of it just for a little bit of more information there. So it's 20 inches long, the whole entire from end to end for the green one. Again, it's all going to be all on you as to what you so choose to make it. All right, so I'm going to get some yarn here, and we're going to go and start the first part of it, which again is a 1-row repeat. We are going to chain in multiples of 2 plus 1. The plus 1 is our turning chain. So for this particular one, I'm going to chain a total of 17 chains. That is for the narrower one. For the larger, wider one, I chained a total of 23. So that gave me a pattern repeat of 22 stitches. So we're going to chain 17 chains. All right, I'm going to zoom in. So we're going to be working into the spine of our chain, so that way we have this nice clean edge. So we're going to turn our work over, look at the back of your chain, and you're going to go to the second bump. So we're skipping this first one and going into the second one. Now into that second one, we're going to place a single crochet. And this will be your repeat to the end, single crochet. And into the next stitch, we're placing a double crochet. This is our base. This is the start of it. The next row will be our repeating row. All right, so we repeat single crochet into the next stitch and double crochet into the following stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way to the end of your chain. Your last stitch should be a double crochet. I'll meet up with you at the very end. If you would like, you can place a stitch marker into that very first stitch, so that way it does not get lost and you can find it on your return on the next row. So I've reached the end of my row. I currently have a total of 16 stitches. So now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. This is your repeat. You are going to single crochet back into that very first stitch. So it was a double crochet on the row below, and it's a single crochet this row. Your next stitch was a single crochet, and now we're going to place a double crochet into it. Next, single crochet, and then double crochet. You're just going to repeat this all the way to the end. Single crochet, double crochet. You are placing double crochets into the row below into the single crochet. You're placing single crochets at the top of your double crochet. Some of you will recognize this stitch pattern. It's a very nice, easy stitch pattern repeat. And it gives you a beautiful fabric, and it's nice and warm. It gives you this, it's hard to explain for me, but it almost looks like little stars in there. I just love this stitch repeat. So double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet. And once again, you will end your row with a double crochet. And then you will repeat, chain 1, turn your work. We're going to do that for however long you would like your piece to be around your neck before you start doing your increases. Now, please keep in mind that the sooner you start doing your increases, the wider your point is going to be, that fold over flap. So bear in mind all of the numbers and stuff that I gave you prior to starting your original section here, your starting section. So go ahead and continue working on your starting section, and I'm going to come back and show you how to work your 4-row repeat increase section in just a moment. So for repeating row 1, where we're going to do the increase section, we are going to work the same stitches through the body of the cowl, the part that goes around your neck. Those stitches will stay the same. So you will end that part of your row 1, with a double crochet. Now we're going to do the increase. So this is where I place my second stitch marker. This is going to be my last stitch of the single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. That's where I put my stitch marker. So I know that is the first and last stitch of the section that goes around my neck. Then the rest of this side here will be my increase section. All right, so your first row is as simple as a half double crochet into the same stitch as your last stitch made. So where your double crochet was, you're placing a half double crochet. That is row 1 repeat. For row 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to place a half double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to repeat our previous repeat. Single crochet into the first stitch, replace your stitch marker, and then double crochet into the next stitch, and continue with single crochet, double crochet all the way to the end of increase row 2. I'll meet back up with you for row 3. All right, for row 3, we're going to continue the same thing we've been doing. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to work to our stitch marker here with our repeating pattern of single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. When we get to that stitch marker, I'll meet back up with you. All right, I've come to my stitch marker, which reminds me that is the last stitch of the repeat for around the neck. So it's a double crochet. And I'm going to go ahead and replace my stitch marker. And now we have a half double crochet here. So we're half double crochet. Here comes the increase. Chain 1 and half double crochet back into that same stitch. So now we went from 1 stitch increase to a 3 stitch increase. Now our return for row 4, we're going to chain 1, turn your work, half double crochet into the first stitch, half double crochet into the chain 1 space, and half double crochet into the next stitch. That's your 3 stitches there. And if you want to put a stitch marker right there at the end, that way you know that's your last stitch of the row, that is perfectly okay. So there's our 3 stitches. Now we are going to remove our stitch marker here, and our first stitch is a single crochet. Replace the stitch marker. That's why I'm using a stitch marker right here, just as a reminder that that is where we start and stop our main pattern that we worked on to go around the neck. And then a double crochet into the next stitch. And you just repeat that pattern back across, single crochet, double crochet. All right. When you get to the end, you're going to chain one, turn your work, and work back to your stitch marker here. Then you're going to repeat your increase. Follow your stitches. Let me move that out of the way. You're going to follow your stitches. You have a half double crochet into the first stitch, a chain one, and 2 half double crochets into the last stitch. Because remember, row 1, we added a half double crochet. So I'm going to come back for this section here, just our increase section, a couple of times, or at least one more repeat of those 4 rows, so that way you can get an idea as to how it's going to continue. I'll be back once I get back to my stitch marker here. Once again, I'm at my stitch marker. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and place my last double crochet of that section. Replace my stitch marker. And now we're going to work the increase section. So half double crochet. We're repeating what we have down here. Half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then we're half double crocheting into that last stitch. Now we need to increase. Repeat with a half double crochet. So that's the first row increase, is adding 1 stitch, half double crochet. This row back, the next row, row 2, back. Chain 1, turn your work. Row 2 and 3, that return row is going to stay the same. You're going to put a half double crochet into every stitch back to your first stitch marker. So a half double crochet into each of those half double crochets at the end. So there's 1 and 2. Then a half double crochet into the chain 1 space. And a half double crochet into that last stitch before your stitch marker. Then you're going to come back here and you should have 4 stitches now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to place our stitch marker into that 4th stitch. Then we're going to start the neck section, continuing that same single crochet, double crochet, repeat all the way to the end, and work your way back to the stitch marker. And then we'll begin our repeating row again for row 3. All right, so here we are, row 3 repeat of the increases. I'm at my last stitch down here, which was a double crochet for the portion that goes around your neck. And let's do our row 3. So we know we have 4 stitches here. It is to increase on this row. The next stitch is a half double crochet. This is our repeat in these increases. Half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet into the next stitch. Remove our stitch marker from our last stitch, and we repeat. Half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into that last stitch. Now for row 4, we're going to chain 1, turn our work over, and place 1 half double crochet in every stitch back to our stitch marker where we start our repeat for the portion around our neck. So half double crochet into, let's see if I can find where I'm at here. Half double, chain one, half double. All right, half double into the last stitch there, or the first stitch, half double into the chain one, and half double into the next half double. Repeat. Half double into the next stitch, half double into the chain one, and half double into the next stitch. So you are on a 3-stitch repeat. It is half double, chain one, half double, and on the way back, it's a half double in all 3 of those stitches. Hopefully that is enough for you to understand that part of the 4-row repeat. So now we're going to go over, and I'm going to grab one of my other samples here. And I'm going to show you how to create your last row, that very last row that gives you the eyelets for your buttons. So if you don't want to do this portion, that's perfectly okay. It's actually a 2-row repeat. And here, as it gets bigger, you can see the pattern emerging and how it is 3 stitches. So you have half double, chain one, half double, chain one, half double. So 2 half doubles side by side with a chain one in between them. That kind of helps maybe you understand a little bit more. All right, so let's go ahead and work that last and final row together. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to remove that stitch marker, plain and simple. Don't need it anymore. If you have one at the very end, that's great. I have my chain one already. I'm going to turn my work over, and now we're going to repeat that 3-stitch repeat. We're going to half double into the first stitch, chain one, skip one, and half double into the next. Half double into the next stitch, chain one, skip one, half double crochet into the next, half double crochet into the next, chain one, skip one, half double into the next, half double crochet. So now we're in that last stitch. Let me get a little bit more yarn here. Now we're into that last stitch of our next section right here. And then we begin our increase section. We're going to half double crochet, chain one, continuing that same pattern, skip one, half double crochet into the next, half double crochet into the next, chain one, skip one, half double crochet into the next. And now we're going to do our last 3 stitches of this row. We're going to half double crochet into the next stitch, chain one, skip one, and half double crochet into the following stitch. No more increases at that point. We're going to chain one, turn our work, and place 1 half double crochet in every stitch to the end of the row. Starting here at the first stitch, half double crochet, chain one space, half double crochet, into your next stitch, half double crochet, into the next stitch, half double crochet, into the chain one space, half double crochet, and into the next stitch, half double crochet. And you're just going to continue that repeat to the end of the row. Once you've reached the end of that row, you will bind off. You will be done with the body and pattern for your cowl, at which point you can choose to either sew your ends together or add buttons for a button closure. If you chose not to do a button closure and you chose not to do that last row, it's fine, no big deal. Just sew your ends together and you will be done. If you want to add buttons, you kind of just line up your buttonholes that we just created with those last 2 rows. You line them up and sew on your buttons to the narrower end of your cowl. Then you can button through your buttonholes. Fold over all those increases that you made. And you are done with your Audrey cowl. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you decide to make this cowl, I would love to see it. You can share your make with me over on the Facebook group. You can send it to me in a private email. You can tag me on Instagram. Or if you are a content creator and you make it and you show it on your channel, tag me in it as well. I would love to see what you ended up deciding to go with as far as how big your increase section was, or if you went with buttons, or if you sewed it together. I want to see your work. I am excited to see everybody else's work at any point in time, no matter what the pattern is and who it's by. Please share with us over on the Facebook group or any other social media. We love looking at them. So that is it for me and the Audrey cowl. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.